All right, so we got word yesterday that Jeremy Loffredo had been arrested, taken in by the Israelis. This is the tweet that came out from Andre X. He says, "Today I was beaten, kidnapped, blindfolded, and taken to a military base by the Israeli occupation forces, together with 4 other journalists. 2 of us were held for 11 hours without charges. My phone was confiscated, stolen, and one of us is still in custody." Turns out we found out that that one that is still in custody is Jeremy Loffredo. You might recognize him. He's been on this show several times. He is a Grayzone journalist. He does excellent work with documentaries. And he was taken and still being held. We now have an update to what he's being charged with. This came out from Ynet News. They say American journalist disclosed secrets during Iran attack, police says. Jeremy Loffredo faces Israeli court after reporting Iranian missiles striking several Israeli air bases. U.S. fears possible diplomatic incident following reporters' actions. They say Jeremy Loffredo, 28, an independent American journalist, was arrested by police on suspicion of endangering national security after reporting on where missiles landed in the attack launched by Iran earlier this month, including the IDF's Nevatim air base and an intelligence base in central Israel. So what he did, according to them, is he reported on where the missiles landed. So this isn't like he gave Iran the coordinates. This is where you should hit, or he wasn't spying for the Iranian government. He literally was just a reporter going out there saying, Iran claims they did damage. Israel's claiming they didn't. What is the truth? And he went and found where the damage was and reported on that. Now he's being charged with disclosing military secrets of some sort. In the report, it says that Loffredo said the attacks on Gaza were launched from the Nevatim base. We're actually going to play the report. And they say the charges against him include aiding the enemy during wartime and providing information to the enemy. This is treason. These charges are treason. We did ask ChatGPT. Now, it may or may not be the most accurate, but look, I can't read Hebrew, so I can't read the penal code, Israel's penal code in Hebrew. So Chat sort of did the work for us. So this may or may not be fully accurate, but they're saying here that in Israel, aiding the enemy during wartime and providing information to the enemy are considered extremely serious offenses, and they're governed by Israel's penal code and the Defense Emergency Regulations of 1945. The relevant laws and potential penalties. Section 99, this is number 1. Section 99 of the Penal Code is treason. This section covers aiding the enemy in war. It includes directly or indirectly assisting the enemy, providing information, or acting in a manner that could harm state security. How is telling the truth about damage from missiles somehow aiding or indirectly assisting the enemy? The fact of the matter is, Iran said, yeah, we did a lot of damage. Israel came out and said, no, we didn't. Jeremy showed in his report, yes, you did. Don't you think the Israeli people need to know that? I mean, I sure as hell would want to know if my government was lying to me about being able to intercept missiles. And that's what Israel's doing to their population. They're telling the Israeli people, don't worry, we intercepted everything. And then Jeremy Loffredo's on the ground saying, no, they didn't. Look at what happened. I mean, don't you think the Israeli people should know this so that they could pressure their government to put a stop to all of this, to not escalate with Iran, to not put all of their lives in danger? That seems to be in the public's interest. Section 112 of the Penal Code, so it could be aggravated espionage. This section includes providing information to the enemy that could potentially harm state security or benefit the enemy. Well, if you think the people of Israel are your enemy, I suppose, if you think your own citizens are your enemy and you shouldn't provide them with information, then I guess maybe he could be hit with this aggravated espionage. I guess he's spying on behalf of the Israeli people, really, more than that's who it affects more than anybody, the Israeli people. The penalty, by the way, for the first one for treason is death or life imprisonment. The penalty for Section 112, if that's what he's being charged with, is life imprisonment or a lesser term, depending on the severity of the offense and the nature of the information provided. The other one he could be hit with is Defense Emergency Regulations of 1945. These regulations can be applied during wartime or in situations deemed a state of emergency. And the penalty for that is severe penalties, including death, for aiding the enemy or treasonous acts, especially in situations where national security is at risk. The problem is that Israel is now pretty much deemed every journalist a hostile enemy. They've been killing journalists, bombing journalists. They've been doing this for a long time, way before October 7th. They would blow up, they blew up AP's journalism in Gaza. They at one point banned AP from reporting. They banned Al Jazeera from reporting. They put tight controls on their own journalists. They're not allowed to report on a lot of stuff. It's against Israeli law. And I think that's what they're applying here, is that Jeremy did put in his video, which we're just going to watch here. He did put in stuff that Israel, the government, has said you're not allowed to show that to the public. But it's one of those questions of, okay, so they made a law, you're not allowed to show this to the public, but is that okay? Shouldn't there be some sort of like civic nullification on this, where the people say, okay, you made this law. Yeah, maybe this person broke the law, but your law is stupid. And we don't think this law is a law that should exist. We, the people, have a right to know. All right, this is the video. We're going to play this. It's about 6 minutes long. This is what Jeremy did to land himself in jail, facing these very serious penalties.
I'm Jeremy Loffredo for the Grayzone in Israel, where last night Iran fired over 200 ballistic missiles in retaliation for the assassinations of Lebanese and Iranian political and military leadership. Since the missile strikes, Israeli authorities have attempted to downplay the significance of the attacks, censor the locations of missile impacts from media publication, and claim that Iran was targeting Israeli civilians. What I saw today, here in Israel, is clear evidence that Iran was targeting the same Israeli intelligence and military infrastructure that's been used over the past year to carry out brutal assassinations and attacks. The morning after the missile strikes, news reports indicated that one of the principal targets was Nevatim Air Base. Nevatim Air Base, located deep in the Negev Desert, is the largest and most critical Air Force base in Israel. It's home to 3 squadrons of U.S.-supplied Lockheed Martin F-35 stealth fighter jets, which have played a pivotal role in Israel's year-long air assault on the besieged Gaza Strip. And as of 2 weeks ago, these F-35s are also spearheading relentless and devastating strikes in southern Lebanon, so far resulting in the deaths of 2,000 civilians. The base is also home to Wings of Zion, the Israeli equivalent of Air Force One. Video footage taken around 8 p.m. Israel time by Israelis and Palestinian Bedouins who live around the Negev Desert show Nevatim Air Base being hit with at least 10 ballistic missiles.
يا أولاد ما طربت امرأة يا رب يا الله
I drove 70 miles south to the highly sensitive Air Force installation, aiming to document the underreported and potentially embarrassing destruction. As I approached the military base, F-35 fighter jets were vertically landing at the base, in all likelihood on their way back from killing, 30 miles away in Gaza or 100 miles away in Lebanon. The road was separated from the base by more than a mile of desert and miles of steel fencing, so seeing any destruction was impossible. In the Negev Desert, there are 46 Palestinian Bedouin villages. 80% of these villages are, quote, unrecognized by Israel and face constant demolition orders on any permanent or semi-permanent structure, resulting in most of their homes and buildings being built with light material like plywood or sheet metal. I went village to village asking about the missile strikes. Most Bedouins were suspicious of me, but 2 young men who told me the explosions scared their wives and children claimed they knew where a missile had fallen.
I just want to stop it for 1 second, just kind of point out there that, this is the strategy. When Israel says, oh, look at all these poor people, like these Palestinians, they could have built up a nice city in Gaza and they chose not to. They instead chose to get weapons and build tunnels, or this is why, what he points out there, that they're not allowed to build. So the Druze are not allowed to put up any permanent structures. The Palestinians have to get permission to put up any permanent structures. They're often denied, especially if they're going to really build things up. So the Israelis, their whole goal is, we want the whole land. It's ours, and we're trying to get rid of you people. So they don't want them building anything permanent. So I just wanted to point that out. But that's not why he got in trouble for this video. He's going to get to that here in a minute.
They led me there, but
this is the impact site for...
I'm Jeremy Loffredo for the Grayzone and killing,
just get to that.
30 miles away in Gaza, or 100 led me there, but they were unwilling to
Sorry,
appear on camera due to concerns for their safety. The military took away most of the missile, but there was still a piece left. The missile fell a quarter-mile west of Nevatim Air Base and about a quarter-mile from the Bedouin village, which is unrecognized by Israel, so it isn't supplied with any type of state-of-the-art bomb shelters like Jewish communities. Where were people in the communities around here hiding yesterday during the sounds?
الناس كانت تشرد للمدارس وين ما في ملاجئ أو لوين ما في جسر كانوا يلبدوا تحت الجسر. أكيد لا لأن ما في ملاجئ وما في أماكن آمنة للناس.
كان يجي يتخبوا هون في الوقت هذا. Many people sheltered here last night with the sounds of the rockets. They came and hide here.
As night fell, I headed to the heart of Israel's military and intelligence operations, Tel Aviv. This city is home to the nucleus of the state's defense apparatus, and by Israel's own logic, the civilians here could be considered human shields. At the center of this high-density urban area lies the headquarters of Mossad, Israel's intelligence agency, where covert operations, assassinations, espionage, and blackmail plots are devised against state enemies. It's not just that schools or hospitals are nearby. Mossad's headquarters is strategically nestled among them, with apartment complexes, tourist hubs, and public facilities all around. Rumors had been circulating online with unverified videos suggesting that the Iranian missile barrage targeted this very headquarters. However, finding the exact impact site was difficult. Israel's military censor had barred the media from reporting the locations of the missile strikes. Using visual clues from footage circulating online, I set out to locate where the missile may have landed. Driving down a street I believed to be in one of the missile videos, I saw a heavily damaged SUV, its windshield shattered, debris and concrete caked into the vehicle. Further down, the scene unfolded. Destroyed vehicles, torn up asphalt, and a massive crater, roughly 30 feet wide, recently filled in with dirt.
That's the Mossad headquarters.
The missile had hit less than 1,000 feet from Mossad headquarters. This information is missing from all Israeli media reports due to the fact it's been officially censored. Right here are the censored coordinates, given the proximity to what is considered one.
Okay, so that's the issue right there. He said, this information has been censored, the government has censored it, but here's the coordinates. So this is what I think they were saying, hey, look, this was against our law. We wouldn't let any other journalist report this. And here you are now reporting these coordinates. So that I think is what we'll just finish off. This is 30 seconds more, but this is the point.
One of the world's most advanced intelligence agencies. It seemed clear that Israel was taking extra precautions to conceal the exact impact location. As we left the area, an unsettling incident occurred. Our cell phones lost GPS functionality. Maps went blank. And then both devices, mine and my taxi driver's, suddenly showed we were at Amman's airport in Jordan, over 120 miles west. For the Grayzone, in Israel,
Weird.
Jeremy Loffredo.
Very weird. Don't know about what was going on with that last part there. And I hope that Jeremy gets out of jail so that we could have him on and ask him more questions about that. But let's get the update here. So Dan Cohen issued this update. This is saying here, American journalist Jeremy Loffredo is in detention in Israel on bogus charges. Loffredo is held on accusations of aiding the enemy during wartime and providing information to the enemy. His report documented the damage caused by Iranian missile strikes, including near Mossad headquarters in Tel Aviv. The absurd accusation against him is based on the fact that he did not obtain permission from the Israeli government to censor to publish it. However, PBS NewsHour correspondent Nick Schifrin also published scenes showing the damage near Mossad headquarters, yet he was not arrested. He's also silent about Loffredo's arrest. The Israeli publication Ynet published an article on Loffredo's arrest and included his video report, the one that we just watched. This was approved by the censor, which means Loffredo's reporting was approved too. The Israeli site I-24's article also included his video report, but its reporter has not been arrested. when Loffredo's attorney, so this is the update here that's important, when Loffredo's attorney, Leah Samel, presented that information, Judge Zion Sahari ordered Loffredo to be released. However, the police filed an appeal and he remains in detention, unfortunately. Let me just show you the video that was put on by PBS NewsHour. This is what they were showing. So you decide if you think this was totally different than what Jeremy was showing.
This is the impact site for one of those Iranian ballistic missiles. And if you see the size of this crater, that's about 30 feet deep and maybe 50 feet wide. You can see all the debris around here. And to give you a sense of the targets for these strikes, that white building back there, about 1,500 feet behind me, is the headquarters of the spy agency, the Mossad.
Yeah, okay. So, there he is showing where Mossad's headquarters are, showing where the damage was. This isn't really any different, yet they went after Jeremy Loffredo. My guess is because Jeremy's been doing quite a few documentaries about Israel. When he was on the show last, he was showing how he was at the border of Gaza and Israel, and there were all these people, and they were partying, and they were trying to make their way into Gaza, and they were very excited about taking back that land. And he showed all of this, and he showed the IDF just standing idly by, and in fact guarding them, protecting them when they're not supposed to be there, showing that the IDF is complicit in these radical settlers who have these notions in their mind of biblical prophecies from 3,000 years ago, and or they're just people that just want to take land, and they're using those prophecies as an excuse. But so Jeremy is unfortunately still incarcerated at this point. There is hopefully a lot of pressure to get him out of there. I mean, I would hope that the US government would say, look, you can't be going after journalists. Look, Israel is losing the plot on this. We're seeing journalists killed. We're seeing journalists being banned. They're telling their own journalists you're not allowed to report on something that I think every Israeli should know about. It is absolutely in the public interest for Israelis to know that their Iron Dome and all the US ships surrounding Israel are not helping them, that they still are targets by Iran, and that Iran could do some serious damage. You would think the people would want to know this so that they could then pressure their government to tone it down. We don't want to put ourselves at risk. What are you doing? You guys are maniacs. The fact that they say, oh, Hamas has no care for their citizens. They use their citizens as fodder, for a narrative. And yet here's Israel covering up the fact that Iran can strike them while they escalate tensions against Iran. I think every Israeli absolutely should know that. And that is what Jeremy Loffredo put out there for everybody to see. Lastly, I got to show you this. I mean, look, you've lost the plot when Fox News, of all the outlets, Fox News, pro-Israel, Fox News, actually does a report showing how Israel is targeting journalists. Watch this.
There are so many neighborhoods that are flattened. Palestinians that are internally displaced will simply have no homes to return to. And while we get a first-hand look at the destruction here, it's important to remember that Palestinian journalists do not have this access. They have been pushed to the south. Dozens have been killed.
There's this false narrative about Palestinian journalists. More than 100 of them have been killed by Israel since the war began. And I take very few positions in the conflicts that we covered, but let this be a position that I take. Journalists, specifically Palestinian journalists, must be protected amid the war. The Israelis have killed journalists in drone strikes. They've killed them with small arms fire, and it's unacceptable.
Wow, on Fox News, he says we've got to protect journalists, especially Palestinian ones. So, when Fox is doing that, Israel's really losing the public support. All right, what can we do? Well, if you want to help free Jeremy Loffredo, what you could do is call the U.S. Embassy in Israel to address the concern, to say, look, there's a journalist there. We do have the number down below where you can actually call the U.S. Embassy. We also have the email address down below. You can email the U.S. Embassy in Israel and demand that they do something to get Jeremy Loffredo out of that jail. Journalism is not a crime, but of course, Israel certainly wants it to be considered a crime, and that is why they're doing everything that they can to harm, to prevent the truth from coming out there. All right, guys, everybody's talking about these weight loss injections because they are so effective. They help you curb your appetite. They also help you turn fat into energy. But what if you don't want to take the shots? They're really expensive. You're not really into that. Well, the doctors at Lean have come out with this amazing product that is going to target all of those same issues. So if you want to lose weight, you want to gain energy, you want to burn fat, Lean is the product for you. This great product definitely does. I mean, it's for me, when I've taken it, I really like it. I like that it gives me energy, but I don't feel jittery at all. I really enjoy that about the product. But listen, if you got to lose some weight, it's got to be a serious amount because Lean is serious stuff. So if you only got 10 pounds to lose, this might not be for you. But if you've got more than that, Lean is for you. All you got to do is visit takelean.com and use the promo code Kim. So takelean.com, use promo code Kim, or you can scan that QR code right there for you. That'll get you 15% off. That link is also down below. Or use the QR code or visit the website, takelean.com. Thank you so much for watching. This was just a clip from the longer, larger show that you can catch Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern at KimIversonShow.com. That'll route you to the platform where you need to be in order to get the full uncensored show every Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Click on that link, watch the full interview. See you there.